Why don't you just start by sharing a little bit about yourself, like where you live, what you do, your background?
My name is Benedicta Williams. I live in Dallas, Texas. I'm originally from Nigeria, and so I'm an immigrant here. That is what I currently do, but my background has been in banking and also in the IT space. But my journey in life led me to this point where I'm finally fulfilling my dreams and working in line with my purpose.
Talk to me about where you felt stuck when we started working together. Like, what is it that brought you to wanting to do that work together? And, how are you feeling at the time, as much as you can remember and tap back into that?
Okay, for sure. When I met you, I was in a space where I just finished from the certified coaching program. And of course, we go through some trainings, how to start your business. We talk about the coaching part. There's a lot of practices and all of that. But at the same time, when you finish from the program, you feel kind of lost and stuck. Now you have all of this information, but when you come out, now you have to do the practical part of the program or the practical side of all the things you've been learning. And no one tells you that at that point you feel like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do now? Now I have all this information. It's like a chick that has been left out in the world and say, go survive. Kind
Yes.
of. That's how
No,
you
yeah.
feel.
I remember that too. My ICF coach training, yeah, it was like 2 years long, and then you do the final exam, and it's like,
Mhm.
"Okay, I made it." And then I realized there was I think it was probably less than 1% of all the training was anything about building a business.
Oh, wow.
We had one I remember we did have one session where they talked about but it was
Mhm.
so basic, like, setting up
Mhm.
a, website
Mhm.
and this and that.
Mhm.
There
Yeah.
was no talk about running a business. But when you graduate, like, now you're running a business.
Exactly. Exactly. And to be fair, I would say my program did a considerably good job of trying to explain the business side, but there's still nothing like the practical side of things. And there's still nothing that prepares you for that part.
Yeah.
So when I finished, I was like, oh, oh my gosh, now what am I going to do? I feel so lost. I feel stuck. Even the day-to-day structure, I had no clue. The budgeting side, the planning for, my fees, things like that. I was just so confused. And
Yeah.
meeting you was, I would say, it's at the end of the tunnel, literally and figuratively, because I felt like after I met you, I had like a guide or someone that has been doing it for a while that had an idea of how I felt
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
could relate and connect with what I was going through and was able to guide me and kind of hold my hands figurative way. So yeah, I felt so lost. I didn't have any clue how to plan, how to organize, what kind of fees to charge, the platforms to use. It was just so even how to network and reach out to people, the marketing side of things. I was just so lost and confused. So that was how I felt before I met you.
Yeah. It is so much to learn, and it's a constant learning journey too. I find the constant struggle and overwhelm that I face and a lot of coach business owners face is what to focus on because you hear so much noise and, "Oh, do this, you should do that,
Yeah,
this will work." And so what do I focus on? Because no one's telling you,
exactly.
"Focus here, this is what you should do." So it's on you. And,
Mhm.
same thing. I just joined a coaching program myself, which I've done tons of them because I constantly need somebody else to kind of help narrow it down
Like,
for me.
that's why I say a coach needs a coach.
Yeah,
Just like a therapist needs a therapist, a doctor needs a doctor.
it's
It
true.
was it was just it was a no-brainer that I needed someone to guide me and you came along.
Hey, I know. Isn't that funny? I had a coach one time who said, when the student is ready, the teacher shows up. And I think it's a really ancient parable or saying, but I felt it deeply as, oh, yes, because it's true.
Makes sense.
When you're ready for it, then suddenly the right person seems to show up.
Exactly.
Okay, but talk a little about what you do before, work-wise and your background.
Well, You mean before going into a full-time business as a coach?
Yeah, uh-huh,
I worked in the IT space. Prior to then, I worked in banking and I took a break. I was a stay-at-home mom for a while. Then I went back into banking. I realized, okay, that wasn't what I wanted to continue to do with my life. And then I got into IT as a CRM software specialist, Salesforce to be
uh-huh.
particular. So that was exciting. That was interesting to me because I just love the idea of being able to help organizations streamline their business processes, and, just help them get the best out of their systems. So that was the interesting part for me with Salesforce, going into Salesforce or the IT part of it. But even though I was really good at my job, I still felt
Mhm,
like there was something missing for me. And I felt like there was more to my life. I felt like I was doing well, but I wasn't living a life of purpose.
mm.
So that was why from IT transitioned and led me to where I really wanted to go, which was becoming a life coach.
I know, because I had a similar journey,
Really
as you know. But how did you think about that jump into doing something that's maybe more risky or less stable, less known path? Because I know how that feels too. At some point,
scary.
the need for purpose and meaning
Hmm.
exceeded the pain of the change.
Exactly. Well, for me, I would say, like they said so many times, a lot of coaches have been coaches their whole life. They just did not have the title of being a coach. And I've been coaching my whole life. I just never thought about becoming a life coach.
Mhm,
When I got to the point where I was thinking about my life or where I wanted to go, and of course, with things happening, losing family members, things like that just makes you look at life differently and make you think you always make plans and say, "Oh, when I retire, I will do this, or when I graduate, I will do." We're always planning for the future, but tomorrow is not guaranteed. And when I think about that, I was like, okay, I don't want to wait till I retire before I do what I want to do in my life. But it was scary. It was a very scary jump, but I was also at the point where I was just thinking to myself, what is something that I would do if I had a choice and I didn't have to worry about my bills? I would do it for free and be very happy doing it. And that was where the light bulb just came like, oh, coaching, therapy, things like that. So I started researching into coaching. I was like, okay, this sounds interesting.
yeah.
And again, it was scary. It's not like I jumped into this without some fear at the back of my mind. But I also believe personally in trying things out. What's the worst that could happen? It wouldn't work out, and you can always go back to what you were doing before.
Yeah. Yeah, and you are I can see it because you are a great coach, and when you work with people, your clients, it turns something on in them that they either knew was there and hasn't been coming out or that they didn't know was there, and so I think it makes sense that deep down you're like, "Well, if money weren't an issue, I would do that. That's my calling. That's what I'm made to do."
Yeah.
So let's talk about the practical side because to your point, part of what you needed was some practical.
Mhm.
I remember many times along the path you saying, well, especially when we started out, one of the first things you said is I really need some structure and I need to know like have some structure to my week and my time management, but also like what tasks, what kind of systems and tasks to be working through. And so we talked a lot about how to get your initial clients and where to focus and where not to focus and ways of structuring your time because you're not in that corporate world anymore. You really have to manage your energy well. So I'm just curious, like what stands out to you in those different steps?
Well, for me, yes, you're right. I was so all over the place. I needed a structure because again, when you're not in the corporate world, it's kind of different because there are times that you're like, oh, okay, I can just do laundry and go and do some cooking. Wow.
Uh,
Then you're like, oh shoot, I still have this to do. But it was important to have a structure, which was something you helped greatly with. One of the things that struck out to me was when you mentioned picking a day in the week and blocking a time where you plan your next week. And that was something I'd never thought about before. So that really helped me because now I think I picked Friday and I picked a particular time where I can plan, structure my week, and then even the networking and reaching out to people, being able to be specific that okay, every week I'm reaching out to minimum of 5 people, and then writing out their names and being intentional about every step or everything I was doing. It gave me a focus, it gave me a structure, and it gave me a direction that I was going, as opposed to just going everywhere like a headless chicken. I don't know why I keep mentioning chicken.
The chicken theme was unexpected. Yeah.
So, so yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. For you, were there any I mean, I think I have an idea of this, but I'm curious from your perspective if there was any points along the way where you had some kind of a light bulb moment of just I mean, you kind of mentioned like looking at your week planning in a new way,
Mhm.
but any
Mhm.
kind of light bulb moments where something clicked for you that was really, helpful moving forward as a coach?
If I think back, I feel like where something clicked for me was when, sometimes when you're meeting someone, you're thinking they're going to be your client, right? And then mentioning the fact that the person that you're talking to doesn't necessarily have to be the one to be your client, but they can, connect you to the people that will actually end up being your clients.
Yeah.
For me, that was like a weight being lifted off some of the conversations I was having, because the mindset I was having was, okay, this person is my potential client. So that was what I was pitching. And then the whole idea that you gave me about just people want to be helpful for the most part, and then asking them for advice, and just asking them, just trying to connect with people, getting to know them and telling them what you do,
Yeah.
and then asking them for any pointers they might have or any advice they might have. That was also like a light bulb moment for me, because I found that in my conversations it was more relaxing because there was no expectation at the
Yeah.
initial stage. So
That's
that
the
was,
key.
yeah, that was another light bulb moment for me too. I know there were quite a few, but those are the ones I can remember right now.
Yeah. Well, I want to emphasize something you said for people listening because the trigger to know when something's off is if you're feeling pressure in the conversations. And I mean, it's a stage of business thing too. At the beginning stage, you have to have conversations from your network to find those first paying clients. And then later down the road, content marketing can take over and you are then talking to like the person you're talking to can directly become a client. But you're right, early on, it's usually not the person in front of you, it's a few degrees of separation from them. And so that's what takes the pressure off. Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm not meeting with this person because I need them to become a client. Oh my gosh, and my whole business
Hmm.
depends on this. And then it's
Yeah.
feel the pressure. And so if you feel the pressure, that is the clue that you're not doing it right. And if you, like you said, see them as just a helpful person in the domino stack to find the client, then yeah, you're right. It's like your shoulders drop in the conversation. You can just be
Hmm.
normal and not have to be weird.
Hmm. Yes, and there's no expectation, and it shows. It shows when you're under pressure and you're looking up to the person like, oh, I need you to sign over as a client by the end of this conversation. It shows, and it can be a turn off. So yes, just like you said, the 6 degrees of separation. That was actually key, knowing that okay, the people you know might know someone that might know someone else that might end up being your clients, like the domino effect, like you said. So
Yeah.
yes.
What were some of the hard parts for you of going through this process?
Oh, the hard part for me, I didn't even need to think about that, was the marketing part, because I am not a marketer. And then also when it comes to the part talking about fees, I feel like a hustler.
Yeah. Yes, I know. It's like there's almost a second piece to the title of coach. Like if you're a coach, then you're also like allergic to sales.
I know, I don't like sales at all, and it's still a work in progress for me, if I'm being honest. It's still a work in progress for me
Yeah.
because At the end of the day, if I'm the type of person, even when someone owes me, I find it difficult to ask them
Yeah.
for my money.
Well, I mean, yeah, but to add to that, I mean, I'm 10 years in and I still struggle with that. I just posted an Instagram story promoting the workshop on Thursday. And I was all hung up this morning because I'm like, oh, I have to promote. I have to promote. And then, I mean, luckily I've learned enough now to know what, the mindset to change. And so I had to give myself a little talk. Like I don't need to promote. I just need to identify like the specific thing that I'm talking about that I'm excited about and share it and then have a call to action. Like but I get in my head like, oh, I have to like get on there and sell, sell, sell.
That's interesting to even know. If you don't mind me asking, how, what did it take for you to start getting yourself into that mindset? Because, like you said, you're 10 years in, and there are times you still feel icky about selling. So,
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, it's always about having a framework. If I have a framework to rely on, then I don't feel like I have to reinvent the wheel every time. Because when I'm
mm,
trying to reinvent the wheel, that's when I get in my head. So,
gotcha.
one of the things I learned in the program I'm a part of right now was promotion cycles. You should go through talking about the problem and the pain that your client has, and then the promise of what you're offering them,
Mm,
and then the proof, and then kind of the proposition or what the call to action basically.
mhm,
And so I actually took some time this week to build those steps into my content calendar.
mm,
And so what I did when I was getting all, hot and bothered this morning was I looked at my content calendar and I looked, oh,
mhm,
okay, today is talking about the problem. So I stopped and I thought about, okay, the main problem people have is related to this workshop is feeling scattered and overwhelmed
mm.
about the year. And so let me just talk about that and why the workshop will help with that. But like, period, end, because my head thinks, oh, I got to talk about 80 different things in this promotion and it's got to be 30 seconds.
That's really brilliant. The way when you the way you highlighted that now, that actually clicks. That makes sense.
We're
Okay.
good.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's probably my biggest pain point still in business is that moment of like, I got to promote this. There's so much I need to say. How do I, and people's attention is short. How do I cram it in? How do I
I
structure it?
know. And the psychology part of it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
just want to coach. But you see, that's when the psychology part of it, what people will click, what they will scroll past, things like that. So I'm still a work in progress when it comes to the marketing side. So that's a constant struggle that I still have.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let me ask you this because a lot of times when people watch a video like this, it's because they've been following along. They probably know that they want to take the step to join an experience like this, but they're on the fence for whatever reason. And I felt it too. I had it, this current group that I'm in, I was on the fence for like 2 months. And I think what's helpful is to hear from someone like you, like what would you say to them? What was the deciding factor for you? Or what would you say to them if they're kind of considering taking a step of being in an experience like this to get coaching and mentoring?
Well, what I would say is getting a coach or being part of this experience is an investment and an investment in yourself. And I think you have to believe in yourself so much that you're willing to make that investment and take the risk. That's the first foundation I would mention. The other thing too is trust me as someone that has started off on their own. You can do it by yourself. You need a guide, you need a coach, you need someone that has been there and done that. Someone that has, that has gone through whatever it is you're going through right now. Because really, being a coach can be a lonely journey if you don't plug in into the right channels and you don't connect with the right people and you don't have the right support system. It can really be lonely. When you start going down that lonely path, there's every possibility that you might end up quitting or um, just throwing in the towel and decide that, okay, this is not for me. But for you to have decided to become a coach, that means that you have a gift in you. You have something within you that someone is waiting to tap into. And you have a calling on your life that other people are relying on. And You can't afford to give up. With that being said, I would advise them to just take the risk, invest in themselves, and get the right support system. And with you, I would say they would have that because you have been a strong support system for me. I keep saying I don't know what I would have done without without you or without connecting with you. Because you came at a point where I was really, really lost and confused and scattered. And you've helped me build some form of structure. And you're still you're still coming up with things that is still helping me along the way, and you're still innovating so many things as time goes by. So I would say they should jump on the offer and do it.
Do it. Oh, that's great. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing your story, Benedicta. Well, in the description here, I'll link how people can check out your business. And yeah, cheers to what's ahead. We've got this next stage of the Business Builder Accelerator to really
Excited.
start this year off strong. So I'm excited you're part of that.
I'm excited to be a part of it too. Thank you so much, Steve.